Hello, dear learners. I'm Dr. Gaurav Rao. I'm Associate Professor in Faculty of Education and Allied Sciences, Mahatma Jyotiba Phule Rohilkhand University, Bareilly. Today, we are going to talk about the BES 122 Block Unit 9, Concept and Nature of Education. Education has become an important aspect of today's society, without which the prosperous life of an individual is impossible. We are not only eager to receive education, but also serious enough to let others take it, as I'm doing this. I'm trying to be with you to share what I have learned with you all. It is basically a purposeful, mindful, psychological, sociological, scientific, and philosophical process that brings about the development of individual to the fullest. And this leads to the development of society. Development in such a way that both enjoy maximum satisfaction and prosperity. In true sense, education is not merely to be educated or self-sufficient, but it purifies the soul and mind of the individuals. And it also enables them to experience the truth and virtues of life. It helps individuals to continuously reconstruct their experiences. Haven't you ever imagined that when you learn something, you get a new information? And when you get a new information, you test that with the experiences you have received. And then what do? You reconstruct what you have learned, experienced earlier with the new information you have now. And hence, you reconstruct or reframe your new knowledge. Education is not for the partial development of human abilities, but it is for the complete development of the child. Let us see the concept and meaning of education. Very commonly known, education is derived from the two Latin words, educare and educatum. Educare means to train or to mold. It leads out to draw out from inward to outward. And the term educatum denotes the act of teaching. It emphasizes the principles and practices of teaching. These words indicate the advancement of latent potential of the child, as the child does not know what he or she has. It is the responsibility of the teacher to, create situations, a learning environment where the child himself or herself understands the various hidden potential he or she has. Hence, it is the teacher or the facilitator who can develop these and take appropriate measures to develop these powers. Let us now hear some of the definitions given by various educationists or sources. Education is the manifestation of divine perfection already existing in man. By Swami Vivekananda, he considered that each individual has a divine soul, and basically, education manifests that divinity from him or her. The Rigveda says education is something which makes a man self-reliant and selfless. Chanakya said education means training for the country and love for the nation. I'm sure an education system which does not develop love for the country is of no use. And Rabindranath Tagore said, the highest education is that which does not merely gives us the information, but makes our life in harmony with all existence. You all will agree an educated person is one who can adjust to the various situations of life. If I am educated, if you are educated, if you study, this education makes you able to adjust and live in harmony with the situations around you. Let us see the narrow meaning of education. Basically, the instruction given in school is called education. It refers to the formal system of education which requires the education acquired from schools, colleges, and universities, where more knowledgeable people attempts to attain predetermined aims during a specified time by providing pre-structured knowledge to children through set methods of teaching. Education, in narrow sense, is also regarded as the acquisition of knowledge. But this idea of education was criticized. The acquisition of knowledge is not only a supreme aim of education, yet it is one of the important aim of education. Let us see the broader aim of education. All those experiences that affects individuals throughout their life is education. Education is not just passing the information and communicating things included in curriculum. It should be something that leads to total development of human personality. Thus, we can say that education is a process by which an individual freely develops him or her according to his or her nature in a free and uncontrolled environment. That is why we are heading towards a learner-centered education, because each individual is different. Each one of us wants to jump, play, and do whatever we like. And the teacher has to understand a peculiar characteristic of that learner and devise the various activities he or she can do. Education in wider sense is a lifelong process. Why it is a lifelong process? Because it takes place from birth to the death. Anything that is done in between is education. At the time of birth, you learn many things. And you have had learned many things when you go to your deathbed. And because it takes place from birth to the death, it is considered to be a continuous process also. Every day, each moment, like after this video, you'll be learning something more. And that is why it is considered to be a continuous process. Basically, education is not something that is limited to the classroom, or it is basically for the period of life. All the experiences that you gain while interaction with family, talking with peers, playmates, environment around you, the various clubs you meet, make, participate in, various social gatherings, शादियों में जाना, birthday parties, the various culture, and the festivals of various types and n number in Indian culture we have. These all leads to learning, and that is what education is. Teachers and mentors help the person to mold their behavior and personality, and this is the wider meaning of education. Let us see the nature and scope of education. Earlier, education was a unipolar process. Later, it was shifted to the bipolar process, wherein the teacher and the child was considered to be the pivotal point. Whereas with the idea of Dewey, with the idea of John Dewey, this idea of bipolar nature of education shifted from bipolarity to tripolar process, wherein Dewey said the teacher and the student work in and under the guidance of the society. And hence, the three poles of education becomes the teacher, child, and the society. Education is the development of all the aspects of human personality that is harmoniously integrated with the growth of human child. Education aims at developing an individual's personality, which is actually his or her adjustment to the place where he or she lives. If I am educated and I am not able to adjust to the place where I am working or living, I'm not considered to be well educated. My education should have had told me that how to adjust with the place where I'm working, where I'm living. Slowly and gradually, the child, the learner, gets integrated into the society and they construct their identity and knowledge in the later course of time. The interaction of the teacher and student cannot be undone in isolation from the social systems, societal norms, and standards, and the aspirations of society. If we see the scope of education, basically education works and have scope informally, formally, and in non-formal ways. Let us see them one by one. Education imparted by formal institutes like school, colleges, and universities are considered to be formal education. Although they are the main centers of formal education, but places like libraries, museums, zoos, picture galleries, lectures, symposia are various agencies of formal education. In formal education, definite curriculum and course of studies are framed to teach the student, and there is a definite duration of time that is required to complete the course. Proper timetable is prepared for day-to-day personalized teaching, and semester or yearly planning of academic sessions are implemented. Both teacher and the students meet in a venue like classroom or personalized teaching. Attendance of teachers as well as students is taken for formal records and completing the courses. A formal evaluation system, both internal and external, is implemented to assess the performance of learners. Both continuous and term end examinations is used for evaluating the performance of students. You might have come across that there are tests done weekly, fortnightly, monthly, and hence trimester and after 6 months and annually. And in formal education system, there is a proper certification done by the board or the university for awarding the degrees or diplomas to the students. On the basis of the results, the students are promoted to higher classes or pursue the higher degrees. Let us see the non-formal education. Non-formal education is endowed with flexible curricula, time schedules, choices of subjects, and the place of evaluation. It does not necessarily require the daily teacher-student interaction like formal education. Education imparted in distant modes like the open and distance learning system offered by the open schools and open universities. Even the distance education departments of the regular institutes also offer non-formal courses and education. Like formal education, non-formal education has a curriculum and uses a variety of methods of teaching and modes of communication. The gravity and quality of instruction of both for formal and non-formal education are the same. Generally, the timings of regular classes in non-formal education is usually conducted on weekends, that is Saturdays or Sundays, or during vacations or non-working days. Multimedia communication systems like print, like self-learning materials that you all have got, and the non-prints like audio and video materials that we are into with, the radio, televisions, teleconferencing, interactive radio counseling, online learning are popularly used as a medium of instruction in non-formal education. In India, institutes like Indira Gandhi National Open University, National Open Schooling, and the state-level open education institutes provide non-formal education. Like formal education, degrees are awarded and certification are also done in non-formal education. Let us go to the informal education, a favorite of mine. Informal education is also called the natural or incidental education. That means it can take place anywhere. No formal or non-formal institutes is required to provide this informal education. The informal education, there is no need of any curriculum, methods of teaching, exact teachers or mentors, or place of teaching. Education and experiences acquired during travel, interaction with people, family discourses, community, social dealings, interaction with environment, neighborhoods, playmates, cultural and religious activities are necessary for information, are necessary for informal education. Informal education supports formal as well as non-formal education. Informal education does not provide degrees or diplomas, simply enriches by filling the gaps between formal and non-formal education. Informal education may comprise the activities like storytelling, group discussions, reading books, or your interest areas to talk to, listening to the audio, radio, broadcasting, or watching educational television programs, visits to various places, educational affairs, educational fair, and scientific exhibitions, and attending lectures and conferences. After having understood the nature, scopes, and the scope of education, let us see the need and importance of education for the growth and development and maturation of the child. Education is very important for the growth and development and maturation of the child. Education gives an understanding, an idea of development of thoughts. Another important need of education is to sublime the basic animalistic instincts of the child to socially useful activities, habits, thinking, and actions. It teaches us to practice morale, spiritual character building, and high order values in life. It also makes the child economically self-sufficient and self-dependent and self-reliant. A very close need that each one of us thinks that after completing an education, we should be fulfilling the capacity to earn bread and butter. Education develops the individual with the intellectual and emotional parts so that the child is able to meet the problems of life and solve them successfully. Education also develops the social qualities like service, tolerance, cooperation, fellow feeling, and constitutional values within the individual. Education teaches us love the nation and work for the country. It also teaches us to understand and practice national and emotional integration, international understanding, and universal brotherhood. In the era of globalization, teaches us to acquaint ourselves and cope with the developmental aspects that occur across the world, such as knowledge generation, science and technology, business and industry, international relations, dissemination of knowledge and experiences, medicine, arts and culture, world citizenship, and achievement of humanity and peace. Let us see the functions of education once. To understand the functions of education, we have decided the functions in general functions of education, functions of education in human life, and functions of education in national life. Let us see the general functions of education. Education helps individuals for the development of the innate power. As we just heard the definition of Swami Vivekananda, wherein he talks about the education develops that internal divinity available in the child. That is what the idea of education is, that each one of us has the capacity to develop ourselves and develop that innate power. Education helps the individual in the overall development of their personality. It helps in direct an individual properly and control the instincts, and specifically the animalistic instincts that we have discussed. It helps the individual to develop the character, morale, and ethical values. It helps the individual to prepare for the future life. As I said, that it is considered to be a very common faith that after the completion of a particular education, degree or program, the child should be able to, earn his bread and butter. But this is not the only idea of education for the preparation of future life. Even for future education, our present education should help and assist the learner. It helps the learner to develop as a good citizen, develop a fellow feeling, cooperation and duty to all human endeavors. It helps to preserve, control, and transmits the rich culture and traditions. It helps to maintain the national security, social feeling, and reforms. And this is what and how the education supports and makes us to understand how our country is going to be strong. The education given to us makes us broaden our horizons of thinking, of global citizenship together with the nation citizenship. Let us see the functions of education in human life. Education makes the individual skillful to adapt to different new and changing situations and environments. It helps the individuals to modify their behavior and also the environment they live in. It helps to bring satisfaction to the educational, social, physical, and spiritual needs of the individual. It helps to bring educational and vocational efficiency among the individuals and fit them for achieving self-sufficiency. Education also helps the individuals for the overall development of their personality, reorganization of personality, and reconstruction of experience. See, reconstruction of experience is a very important domain of education, wherein the education reframes the earlier experiences with the new information and a learner is developed. Education also helps the individual to work as an agent for the social change. And this can take place only he has reconstruct his experiences with his new reorganization of ideas so that he can bring the changes in the society. Let us see the functions of education in national life. Education helps the individual to train for leadership that may further help the individuals to take the leadership role in the areas of their interest for the nation. It teaches the individual to achieve national and emotional integration, which are the binding principles for maintaining the healthy national life. It empowers the people of the country to take social, economic, and scientific responsibilities for the total national development of the country. That was all with nature and scope of education. Today we studied about the role of education in the various aspects of the personality of the individual, why it is important, what education is, and what is the true sense of education. We also learned about the various concepts, the definitions given by various personalities. We also learned about the narrow and broader meaning of education. We also learned about the nature and scope of education, how education is given informally, formally, and in non-formal modes. What are the various institutes and situations and conditions wherein they are given? We also talked about the need and importance of education, wherein we talked about that education helps in the growth and development and maturation of the individual. It sublimes the animalistic instincts. It sublimes the basic animalistic instincts, helps the child to develop the moral and spiritual character. We also understood the responsibility of education to develop the individual in the form of global citizen. And we also talked about the functions of education which are general in nature, in context of human life, and in context of national life. I hope you all have understood the nature and concept of education. That was all for today. Thank you so much.